Hello, I'm Dee Allen, and I'm coming to you by way of Tire Transforming Ideas of Relevant Elevation. And today I want to elevate you in an economic way. Today we're talking about economic growth. So, what we want to do is get the most out of our credit cards. So some of us have mediocre to great credit, but we're not getting the most out of our cards. So the first thing that we want to do when applying for credit cards or lines of credit, we need to make sure that they have cashback offers because there are numerous cards that offer cashback offers, and you can kind of research and compare. You can also call and talk to a customer service agent to go over all of the different offers that each credit card company offers. So you want to see who has the highest cashback rate, and that is the card. We'll check the annual fees, but that is the card that you want to get. Also, credit unions have less fees and they also offer cashback. I know Navy Federal is good for some cashback cards. So that is one way to get the most out of your cards. So you want to pay attention. Some offer more cashbacks for eating at restaurants. Some offer cash back on fuel, groceries, different things like that. So you want to use your cards to your advantage and kind of research what different purchases offer the most cash back. So you can take that money and you can save it, you can invest it, you can do a number of things, but that is a way to get the most out of your car and in turn really increase your net worth. So the next thing that you can do every day, I don't know, outside is so expensive, meaning as soon as you hit the door, you're almost spending money. I spend money before I hit the door. I spend money in the comfort of my own home. But one way to get the most out of your cards, if you have a Visa, MasterCard, or American Express, what you want to do, number one, you have to focus on paying the card off before the due date so that it won't accrue interest. So before that interest hits, you want to pay the card off. But a great way to do things is, I mean, if you're leaving out of the door to buy a bottle of water, you're going to the convenience store. I'm not a grocery store shopper, so I get almost everything from the gas station. So if you are going to say Wawa's and you want to get a sandwich and a bottled water and a banana, you want to put that purchase on your credit card. Now, some people that I mean that may sound crazy to some people, but it's really not. You want to, as long as you're not paying interest on it, you want to put money on that card because the more money you spend per month, the higher your limit will be. So you want to spend, say, if your credit limit is $1,000, you everybody spends at least about $100 a day in purchases, not frivolous purchases, not wasteful purchases, but if you take your card and purchase everything with your card, number one, you're going to get cash back on those purchases. And number two, you are letting the credit card company know that you are spending a certain amount. So if you have a $1,000 credit limit and you are, because you can pay that card off before the due date as many times as you want to. So say you have a $1,000 limit and you pay that off, and then that frees your credit line up and you pay that off again. So say you pay it off three times within a credit cycle, then you have spent $3,000 and you have gained cash back on $3,000 worth of purchases. So your limit will more than likely be increased to what you are spending if you are paying on time and you are keeping the rest of your credit up to good standing. So what this does is increases your limit. If your company does not offer a limit, call them and see if they are willing to do a soft inquiry. And if you have a $1,000 credit limit, I wouldn't go for anything too large. I would probably uh, ask for a $2,000 total credit limit, which is an increase of $1,000. So if you are in fact spending that type of money, your credit limit will be increased if the rest of your credit is in good standing. I will give you an example. My credit is excellent. So I have had one particular card I've only had for 1 year, and I really was not using that card because I have, to be honest with you, not trying to show off or anything like that. I have access to so much credit that it's difficult for me to spend it, or to max out the card. So I was denied the increase, and it wasn't too far off from what my credit limit was, but I was denied the increase, and the reason being I was not really utilizing the card. I would use the card, but I would probably spend maybe a quarter of the credit line. So there was no reason for them to increase the credit line. So what you can kind of do is rotate cards. Say you have two or three cards. So say one is say $5,000 and you don't have $5,000 in expenses, or you do have $5,000 in expenses, but you can't kind of use the credit lines for all of your cards. For 2 months, you could spend $5,000 and utilize one card, and then you would move to the next one. But you want to have a steady pattern of using the entire credit line and making sure that you pay it off before the due date, so you do not accrue the interest, and it doesn't look like you're maxing out your cards, because you don't want your cards to hit over 30 days utilization. So I pay attention. I use Credit Karma. So I pay attention to when my cards report. Most of my cards report around the same time each month. So you want to make sure that that balance is paid before then, so that your utilization does not go over 30%. So you can pay it down to 30% or less. So I don't want to be confusing. What I am saying is, if you want your limit increased, you want to use the full balance of the card, but you want to pay it off. So the way you use the full balance of the card, you do not go and buy a $4,000 Dolce & Gabbana shirt. What you do, you buy your gas, everything that you can think of. If you go to the movies, you buy your movie tickets. If you book flights, you pay for those flights. If you go to events and you go on Eventbrite, use that card for every expense, and just take your debit card. You can take your debit card and just pay it off as if you were going to use your debit card for all of these purchases. So I hope this helps. Number one, to get the most out of your cards, you are going to choose and apply for cards that allow cash back. Okay. And then you are going to use the full balance of your cards with everyday expenses, and make sure that you pay them off before they report to your credit bureau, and before the 30-day interest rate hits. So I hope this has helped you today, and I thank you for being a part of my journey, and I hope to be a part of yours.